This is a Defocus Media production. What's up, everyone? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Darryl Glover.
And I'm Dr. Jennifer Lyerly, resident optometry nerd.
And welcome to Defocus Media, optometry's #1 podcast, where we discuss the hottest topics, latest technology, eyewear, practice management, and more. So sit back, relax, and defocus. What's up, everyone? It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Darryl Glover. I am here with a friend of mine that is the master of all entrepreneurs. When I tell you this young lady, this supreme, this ultimate OD has changed the game, she truly has. And on today's podcast, what we're going to touch on are the best tips to be an entrepreneur. We're going to break down 3 tips, and we're also going to touch on the business. But friends and family, I'd like to welcome my colleague, Dr. Brianna Rhue.
Thanks. Hi, everybody, and thank you, Dr. Glover.
Yeah. So super excited because I've been watching you forever. And it seems like every year you just take it to the next level. Mm-hmm. But the one thing that I've noticed over time, especially with optometrists, is that a lot of us are entrepreneurs.
We are.
And I think it's pretty exciting because in this space, there's so much you can do. The days of just sitting in the exam lane and saying what is better, 1 or 2, they're still there. But for a lot of us, we like to tiptoe outside and do some other things to make an impact in eye care, but also outside of eye care.
Yeah.
But before we get too far, maybe give an overview of who you are, and let's get into some tips of how to be successful when it comes to entrepreneurship.
Yeah, so Dr. Brianna Rhue, I have a private practice in South Florida, and we're here at the Vision Expo East in 2025 in Orlando in the Dr. Contact Lens booth.
Yeah.
You may have seen it looks a little bit like Space Mountain. So our whole theme is Space Mountain lets you off in the gift shop for a reason, and that's what we created at Dr. Contact Lens. So instead of printing the paper copy of the prescription, you send it to them digitally inside your store. So instead of them going on 6 different rides trying to price search you, now they can easily order in 1 click.
I love that.
And then the private practice, right, that 1 or 2, I was like, God, there's got to be something better. What was I, like a bat in my past life? Like, let me out, right? And then when they let us out, we do get a little weird, a little fun, right? And that's what's opened me up to here. So Dr. Contact Lens gave me kind of that system and that platform.
Yes.
And that's where a lot of this has gone.
Awesome. So you got the foundation.
Yeah.
Now I want to jump into top 3 tips to be a successful entrepreneur. Simply because, again, you have done an incredible job, and I want to learn so I can be a better entrepreneur as well. So let's start with tip number 1.
Tip number 1, surround yourself by great people. So my biggest thing is people are like, Brianna, how do you do all of this?
Yeah.
My key is I'm a mom of 2 boys. I'm a wife. I'm me. I'm the practice owner. I'm Dr. Contact Lens, all the things. I don't do all that by myself. And so it's realizing with delegation is redefining it. Surrounding yourself by good people, but also giving them the tools and the time that they need to be nurtured. So really it's working on your leadership.
I love that.
To help people do that. And you do that through reading books.
Yes.
So one of my favorite reads, life-changing read, is Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell.
Okay.
And we also launched a little book club. So book nerds, we review a book. But that's really where this comes down to. That's tip number 1.
Okay. I love that tip. I don't know about y'all. What I hear is teamwork makes the dream work, for sure.
It does. You don't do everything by yourself.
That's it. You know, it's very important to understand the power of delegation, but it's also very important to make sure you delegate the right activities or tasks to the right people.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that I had some mistakes on early in my career as an entrepreneur is delegating the wrong tasks to certain people.
Yes.
I didn't let them lean into their strengths.
Right.
You know,
or let them surprise you.
You know, so it's very important to understand the person that's sitting in front of you.
Yeah.
What's their language? What do they excel at? What are they interested in? What are they passionate about? That way you delegate the right task or duty to whoever's in front of you. Yeah. So I love that.
And redefining it. Ooh. So redefining what delegation is.
Sure.
So before I had my first baby, I was that perfectionist. I can only do it. Where are we going?
Yeah.
After I had the baby, I went on my maternity leave. I realized my clinic didn't burn to the ground. I actually made money while I wasn't there, but I redefined delegation.
It's the best money to make.
Yeah. So I said if somebody would do it 51% of the way I would have done it, it's a complete win. And then that gets that off my plate.
I love that. I normally say 75%, but I like 51.
I lowered it.
I feel like
but then they really surprise you.
Well, and that's the thing, right? And I feel like the more seasoned I become, the more I start dropping that number down, right? Yeah. Because you learn from experiences, right?
You do.
Okay, so tip number 2, what do you have for us?
So be patient. There's no magic pill
Right.
for getting more customers, but showing up day in and day out and being consistent is what's going to move it forward.
Yeah.
And so you have to, as an entrepreneur, there's the highest of highs and there's the lowest of lows.
Absolutely.
And so you just have to stay, the more even keel you can stay and kind of stay off of that emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
I've learned that through my EA, my executive assistant. We call her my chief soul officer.
I love
so
that.
she protects my flow. You got to give yourself the time to get into the
She
flow.
got a little bit of James Brown in
She
her.
does. She is my literal chief soul protector. So make sure that you're doing tasks that keep you in that belief, right?
I love that.
And you don't, if you get knocked down, you get up again,
Yeah.
right? Like I live my health, like head through soundtracks. And the other bit to that is it's just one foot in front of the other. And so that's what we have. I have my little entrepreneur hack,
Yes.
which we call the 3-frog way. So it's these little frogs. And I was interviewing a COO for Dr. Contact Lens.
Okay.
I was 4 weeks postpartum. I was outside and he said, Brianna, you need to fire your sales team. You're going to be out of money and before you know it, you've got 2 businesses and all these things. And I was like, that's why I'm hiring you.
Right.
That's why I'm asking for help. And he goes, Brianna, do you ever walk in the morning and write down the 3 things you need to do that day? And I was like, there were some swear words. And I was like, F you, man. What I don't need is a list of 3 things. I have all these things on my plate as a mom and all these other things. What I need is a wife. So that was kind of the end of that conversation.
Yeah.
Fast forward 3 years. This was born out of what was he trying to tell me with 3 things.
Right.
So your 3 things in the morning, you have 1 frog that will bring you or someone joy, 1 frog that's your easy task, and 1 frog that's your hard task.
I love that.
And so this is a productivity accountability game that we play at both Dr. Contact Lens.
Yeah.
The Dr. Contact Lens offices all get their frog community.
Yes.
And then you move it.
Yeah.
And so it's about working on your business instead of in it.
And that's the key thing, right? Because a lot of times we try to do both, and we don't need to do
can't.
both, right?
Yeah.
But I love that you started with the word joy.
Yes.
What brings you joy?
Yeah.
That's huge. You know, a lot of times we start off by doing the hardest thing that's out there, and that's not going to truly bring us joy. It's going to make the business move forward. But what can you do to start your day off right? And starting it off with joy, to me, is just a game changer.
Yeah.
You know, love it. Love it. Tip number 3, what do you have for us?
Tip number 3 is realize that, like here we're on as optometrists, now entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
When you're walking through these exhibit halls, okay, and when your vendors are coming in to pitch you, they're all pitching you.
Yes.
Your colleagues are pitching you.
Absolutely.
The stage is pitching you. All these people in this amazing place are pitching you.
Yeah.
So what does that make you? It makes you the shark in Shark Tank. So we're not acting like sharks, okay? And why is that? Is because we have our clinical mind and our business mind.
Right.
Clinic, clear, confident, concise. That's how we do first do no harm.
Right.
In business, you have to take risk. You have to be unsure. But how you do that is by asking better questions.
Yes.
So you have to ask better questions.
I love it.
And then listen, right? So you learn through that. Learn by something that you love or emulate to level up your game.
Nice.
And that's what the iPitch book is.
Yes, please share.
So this iPitch is it's showing the doctors that we are the sharks, but we're not acting like sharks.
Yeah.
And then we have our business mind versus clinical mind.
Right.
It's 3 pages long, Darryl. It's not a long read.
All right.
Okay?
Well, that's easy.
And then what it shows you is by asking, it gives you a framework. So now, how are you actually asking questions? And it's a
Gotcha.
little workbook.
I love it.
So instead of walking away with all these rubber balls, it comes away with a plan.
I love it.
So this is where purpose meets passion.
Yes.
Now meets your plan.
I love it. I love it. I mean, this mind is just so strategic, a true planner. I love everything that I'm hearing. So this is fantastic. I love these 3 tips. For all my entrepreneurs, make sure you listen to this, take your notes, step your game up, elevate your practice, but also elevate your other endeavors that you're doing out there. If we could leave one last thing with our listeners, our followers, in regards to how Dr. Contact Lens can elevate their practice, what would it be?
There's a lot of money in contacts still, right? These online retailers, this is about you as a doctor not owning a business. Realize now that you are a tech company that practices optometry.
Yes.
And this comes to, in our practice, we say every patient, every encounter, every time. So what Dr. Contact Lens helps you do, you're busy in the back throwing up all these exams and all these prescriptions, right? But you don't know what happens at the front.
Right.
And we have these really weird conversations at the front, right?
Weird, awkward.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
And so a lot of our patients are pulling that Homer Simpson, like backing out,
right,
or just asking for a copy of their prescription.
And running out.
Yes. And so you send that digitally.
Yeah.
Keep it in there. They can use their vision plans. They can use their rebates. They can order from you. And now you're using that to your advantage versus just going back and saying, oh, it's just another one that walked. It's just another one that walked.
I love it. I love it. Well, continue the great work. You know, if you can just leave with our listeners, our followers, those top 3 tips again, and then we'll have them go out in the real world and make the magic happen. So tip number 1
is find your people. Find your tribe. Surround yourself by great people.
Number 2?
It's all about your processes. So understanding what's bringing you joy, what's bringing you purpose, and then in your systems.
And number 3?
Realizing that you're the shark. So no one's going to help you do it. You got to realize you're the shark.
I love it. Thank you so much for being a part of the show today.
Of course.
It's your favorite optometrist, Dr. Darryl Glover. Stay healthy, stay positive, and stay blessed. And until next time, peace. Hey, family. If you enjoyed this full podcast, don't miss out on more engaging content. Check out the next episode right here. And for the latest updates, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Your support means the world to us. Catch us in the next episode. Peace.